The opinions expressed in this show are the views of the host and not necessarily that of WTRW, 94.3 The Talker, or the Bold Gold Media Group.
The following presentation is brought to you by the host of the program, who is solely responsible for its content.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Make a Change. I am your host, Terry Martin, along with my producer, Tom Jenkins.
Good afternoon, Terry.
Good afternoon. This show is all about you and how
Me? Everything's about me. You should know that by now.
Yes, it is. It's about you. It's about me. It's about everybody.
Okay. Don't patronize me.
Okay. Well, and how to make a change. Last week, we talked about making changes in our lives. We briefly touched on a few suggestions that were inexpensive to change and simple. It is our everyday choices that can be causing us such grief in our health and lives. This is not new information, but obviously we need to look at what we are choosing daily that might need to be changed. Picking up from that point, we also showed how amazing our bodies are and that we have the ability to rebuild again, no matter how old or sick we might be.
You know, the description you used last week was like getting a cut or a wound, and when it's on the external part of your skin, you can see it healing over time. But what you then focused on was the facts of the insides that we don't normally see because we can't see them. We kind of neglect them because out of sight, out of mind.
Right. And this show is meant to help you turn your life around. In the news, we're hearing of so many problems. Some days you probably feel like you just want to run away. There are days you might want to even run away from yourself, but my hope is to try to get you to run back to yourself. In this fast-paced world, we can always find something to do or somewhere to go so that we can escape the real issues. What if you could look at life differently?
What do you mean?
Well, by that I mean, what if you stopped taking for granted every wonderful service your body does for you in a day? We take our bodies, our vessels, so much for granted until something goes wrong. And then we'd give anything to be able to return back to who we were and what we had. And yes, every one of us at some time will face something.
Always. Nothing is peaches and cream all the time.
No, and I'm not preaching doom and gloom, but the extreme opposite.
I like how you said that. Look at life differently. One of the best pieces of advice I've ever been given, and I've shared this on many of the shows on our radio station here at 94.3 FM, The Talker, is that when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. You know, I was told that, I cannot change anything externally in other people or in certain situations. I have no power to do that. But what I can do is I can try to look at it from a different angle, see it differently, even step out of myself sometimes and look at it from a different point of view. And when I can do that, fail a lot, but when I successfully try and succeed at that, it actually does make things more clear, easier to handle, and what's even better is to face it successfully and have to get through it when, not the doom and gloom, but those things come our way.
Mm-hmm. But we need to get excited for everything that we do still have left that's good and in working condition. Where we talk about don't run from the warnings or trouble, but run to them. This is a new way of thinking.
Okay. Please explain, because run to the trouble?
Right. Because if you don't try to cover it up and run away from it.
Oh, I see what you mean.
You need to find out.
I see. Don't go looking for trouble, but when there is trouble, get to it to handle it.
Right. And this is a new way of thinking that can change your life for the better and save your life. In other words, if you say, your gallbladder, there's something wrong with your gallbladder or the appendix, and many people just say, okay, I'll go get that operated on, take that out, and then I will be fine. But the problem is, there was something that made them go wrong to start with. So what do you do now when that's gone? And you might have to fight a little bit harder. But your body still can survive without it. But it is more of a strain on your body. So it's better off if you can try to see what's happening and listen to your warnings.
I gotcha. Okay.
But really, how many people think of themselves as their very best friend? I doubt too many people think that way.
I don't know many.
No.
I don't know any.
You come into this world alone and you go out alone. So wherever you go, you can't get away from yourself. And knowing this, would you purposely want to drag around a sick body filled with alcohol, tobacco, drugs, or so much weight that you're so exhausted and sick to enjoy anything at all? You can't. Not even anything as simple as a walk.
But we never even look at it that way.
No. We live in such a fast-paced world. If you don't stop and smell the roses, as they say, then you are covered in them.
And they're full of thorns. That's not comfortable.
No way. So you don't want to let the time on this earth fly by so fast that one day you wake up and say, what have I done? This doesn't even have to mean that it is because you're old. Look around at the choices we are all making. You don't need a degree of any sort to see we have a rather sick, large society. We do not need to see their doctor report. We can tell by looking that sadly much of what we are seeing also is our sweet little young children very sick as well.
That's a shame.
And could this be because of our choices? If not, then who chose the food we put in our mouth? Who makes our choices but ourselves? Now, does it matter who made those not so good choices anymore? No. That was yesterday. Blame isn't what this is about. Change is what this is about. My talk show, Make a Change, is intended to be a way of coaching you along, to help you find a reason to get excited about turning that old clock of time around. Even if you are young, the clock doesn't stop ticking, and one day you will be old also. But what is exciting is everyone has 3 different ages. One is the chronological, that's our age since birth. Biological, our body's health age, and psychological, how we feel about age. You know the great news here? We can all set a new goal for ourselves. It is true, we cannot change the day and the year we were born, but we can change our biological age. This is why some people may look 20 years older or younger. An example is Christy Brinkley. Everyone can say with her money, she can have personal trainers, and that is fine. But she still has to do the work, and no one can do her exercises for her.
True.
We now have every piece of equipment, gyms galore, DVDs on how to lose weight and get strong, everything at our fingertips. There are no excuses but excuses. So if we say these helpful tools do not work, no, they don't. You're right. We still have to do it. You might say then, Christy can have the best food. Is there anyone who cannot afford food? No. Even government food stamp programs allow enough for quality food. The freedom is there to make a healthy choice. I had 5 children, and most of the time I was a single parent, so there is no excuse. I've been there, and it's all in choices. And that is where you need to be teaching your children those choices. And if Christy Brinkley, at age 60, ate what many other people selected, then she wouldn't look like she does either. Blame is so easy. She has had children also, so that is no excuse either. Through careful food choices, I can tell you there is no way you can be overweight when you put time and thought into what you're eating. Once again, if you thought about your body like the marvelous piece of equipment it is, there's no computer that could even be comparable to the body we live in. We need to stop and think about even typing on a computer how many muscles it takes to move your arms and fingers to hit the keys. But then, to that, the thoughts from the brain to tell your fingers what to hit. Wait. What about the thoughts of what you are going to convey on the screen? How about the muscles it takes just to sit in the chair? We need to stop and see what we take for granted. What would we do if even one of the wonderful things our body does for us was taken away? Change what you believe, and you can change your life. Have you lost the power? Did you notice when it left, or did it silently slip away? Do you know what I mean about power?
I'm thinking the power to follow through with the choices, to follow through with the changes, or just kind of give up and just, it is what it is. This is how it is, whatever. This is how I'm going to be. Is that what you're talking about?
I mean the strength, the get up and go that we always had starts to slip away. But maybe that doesn't have to happen if we recognize that it is happening.
Okay.
And one way to explain this would be, if you had the flu and you could hardly move and it was days before you felt normal again, or possibly it was too much alcohol and you say, oh, I'll never do that again because you feel so horrible and powerless. But what did that really do to your body? And you know how you feel or how you felt. So some people laugh and say how much they party. Can you really imagine how hard that is working your body is working to get back to normal even? If you thought about what it is doing to your precious vessel, the one and only one you will ever get, maybe you wouldn't have quite so many drinks or eat so much.
Right.
Isn't it sad to think of the abuse done to our own bodies we willfully are choosing? This is where we need to understand the cost of our choices. We are the only one to blame for any destruction we cause purposely to ourselves. Responsibility may be one of the hardest words we have to digest.
Stand up and be a man.
What does the responsibility and choices have to do with growing old? Everything. Growing old is something that many people do not want to face. Aging can be terrible for some people that just dread the thought of looking and becoming old. When people think of aging, they often think of how their looks deteriorate and they lose their youthful appearance. Don't you think it would be much scarier to realize your insides are also getting old, and taking more care of the inside could have a drastic effect on the outside? There are steps you can take to retain your youthfulness inside and out. That's what the show is about.
Making a change, inside out.
Yes. Did those years around your eyes take you by surprise? I heard that in a song one day, and I had to write that down. I don't know what the song was, but it is true. And how about the gray hair that you saw come one by one? You try to pull them and finally, okay, no more, but it gets to the point that you can no longer count them, and aging is inevitable. Aging gracefully could be your new goal. No one wants the alternative to aging, so we might as well get happy and go along with a smile, and of course a smile takes years away instantly. For many years, people have been searching for the secret to staying youthful. There are millions of dollars each year being paid by consumers that are looking for that magical remedy that will slow down the aging process. Well, hello. If you care for it and pay attention to your body and its needs, then you can age gracefully and naturally. With the new healthcare programs that are out there now, we really need to face that there are going to be huge, large cuts on everyone's coverage.
Don't even get me started on that.
That's why I feel we need to really take better care of ourselves, because it won't be what it has been in the past.
Yeah,
we see it right now.
I'm a firm believer it's not health care that's out there now, it's sick care.
Right.
The health care is what we can do for ourselves now, so we don't have to go to sick care.
Right. This doesn't take a rocket scientist to see if you abuse your body for years, it isn't going to look good. And on that note, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be talking about my favorite subject, skincare and Mederi Clinicals.
Nice.
We'll be right back. You're listening to Make a Change on 94.3 FM, The Talker.
Mederi Clinicals, a unique skincare company, has a complete skincare line for men and women. From anti-aging to glycolic and even a clinical line for sensitive skin, Mederi Clinicals is for you. Their number one product? Forgiveness. It's the secret to younger looking and younger acting skin. You can experience the transformation with fewer wrinkles, firmer skin, and a more youthful, radiant complexion. Treat aging, sun damage, rosacea, and more with Forgiveness. Plus, buy one bottle of Forgiveness, get one lip enhancing complex for free. Forgiveness. Apply it morning and night and keep forgiving and forgetting all through the day. Make a change with Mederi Clinicals. Balance, restore, look, and feel new. Mederi Clinicals, a complete skincare company for men and women. Call 866-646-3374 or check out MederiClinicals.com. MEDERI Clinicals.com.
Welcome back to Make a Change on 94.3 FM, The Talker. I am Terry Martin, your host, and Tom Jenkins, my producer.
Good afternoon again, Terry. Having a great time so far on the show today. And right before the break, you mentioned skincare. I know you know all about skincare because of everything you do in life is based around that from the inside to the outside. But I want you to go into more detail about the skincare and what you're talking about.
Well, first of all, I would like to talk about Jeremy Cannella, who is the president since 2010.
Of Mederi Clinicals.
Of Mederi Clinicals.
Okay.
And he has been my partner with the company for many years. Maybe I should say for almost 20 years because it just so happened Jeremy is my son.
Okay.
Which means he has grown up with Mederi since the very beginning.
Good.
Jeremy ran our company out of Dallas, Texas for 6 years, where he traveled and studied many of the latest skincare techniques and formulations. And then he decided it was time to come back to Pennsylvania and work together because we were making so many changes. it was just too hard at that point to live so many miles away.
Now, were you here in northeastern Pennsylvania while he was in Texas?
Yes, and we lived with Skype and...
Yeah, that does make it tough. Yeah, long distance relationships, even if they're not romantic, just a mother and a son, that could be tough.
I've always been so honored that Jeremy had the insight to stick with our new company so many years ago, because we've been through a lot, blood, sweat, and tears. And when I talk about blood, sweat, and tears, I do have a story, and it is a true story. When we were into the business, maybe 12 years into it, Jeremy said, "Oh, we got a fantastic, huge order online." It was one of the biggest orders we ever got. So we got it all put together, and we had called UPS to get a special order, get the shipment, come and pick it up. And Jeremy actually even cut his hands trying to get everything all packaged with the tape and everything the way that they wanted it. Well, UPS came to pick it up, and we were just thrilled that it was out the door and on its way. And about 2 days later, we realized it was a scam from International. It was bad. So we quick called UPS, hoping that by some chance it was still at a loading dock somewhere, and it was. And thank God. Although what happened to us was we ended up getting all that back. It was, so many pieces of the same thing.
Right.
And normally we don't keep a stock like that. We don't have to, because if it's huge orders, they just come right from a different company. But we tried so hard to get that one that we went out of our way to do it. So, sometimes when things just don't turn out like you want them to, or you think that they should, that was a blessing in disguise. And I still have to say thank you to UPS for that one.
Absolutely. I've got a great idea. Why don't we get Jeremy on the show one day?
Yes, that would be a great idea if everyone would call into the radio talk show, because I've asked him to come on air, but he likes to be the silent partner and do all the work behind the scenes.
I know that guy. I'm that guy sometimes too.
But if anyone has any questions, Jeremy has been the mover and shaker of the entire new anti-aging line. And I stand by and say, okay, I trust you on this one, just move forward. But I do have to remind him that I am a baby boomer, and for him not to forget, we need larger fonts on products and advertising. Yeah, maybe that's why he saw the necessity to bring out the anti-aging line. After he has heard me all of these years, he saw a true need.
So tell me about skincare and Mederi Clinicals.
Well, skincare can be confusing, especially when it comes to the ingredients' names and trying to say them.
No kidding.
I just say, call Jeremy, because the proof is in the pudding.
He'll tell you.
Or shall I say the proof is in the creams and the lotions?
Well, there you go. Yeah, that makes more sense.
But we do have a money-back guarantee on all products, so why not try them?
Absolutely.
I can tell you, male or female, there is a reason for the many different products that are in our Mederi line. Okay, I'll start with the 3 basic lines. The first is clinical, and that's safe for all skin types. It's excellent for sensitive skin, chemically, mechanically, or environmentally stressed. And what I mean by that is if you've had lasers, if you've had sun damage, wind damage, if you've had any surgeries, doesn't matter what age you are, because, more mature skin needs gentle products. So
the first one, the clinical, it's safe for no matter what kind of skin you have, whatever has happened to you.
Right.
Okay.
And it's soothing, it's calming, and it's anti-irritant and anti-stinging. But the next is the glycolic line, and it cleanses, purifies, exfoliates, and balances. It's fantastic for acne on the face or the body. It's a great treatment for even aging skin, and it helps close the pores and it tightens and tones. And our last line is the anti-aging, the transformation line. And you receive maximum results in facial rejuvenation, and your skin just glows because you're returning to the youthful look, and the dead, dull, lifeless skin is gone. We also have specialized products for the eyes, because if you use a regular moisturizer, puffiness can happen under your eyes. Many people think they don't want to spend on the eye products, but the skin under the eyes is definitely different. It's like on your lips, very thin. So it's easier to fix that than you think it is.
And that's where the third line comes in, that anti-aging transformation line that you have.
Yes, that is the anti-aging transformation line. And then we have Relax. It's our topical line minimizer. It's a great alternative to injections. It targets and reduces and prevents line formation up to 60% in 28 days. It's a cumulative effect. You have to use it morning and night. Just think, no needles. Now, this doesn't mean it will totally replace Botox. However, it will help your Botox last longer. Or if you never use any Botox products at all, this is a serum. And so if the lines are just very light, very little, this won't help real deep set lines. But just think whatever the line is, however deep it is, it will be 60% better. And for any more information on the products, you can go online or you can call to have information and sample sent. But best of all, you can speak to a real person. I would like to mention here, our products are also made in America.
What is your webpage?
MederiClinicals.com.
Okay. Perfect.
In the future programs, I will be having special guest speakers come on to tell about their specialties, whether it be products or services, to help in all different aspects of life. If you or someone you know would like to be on my talk show, please call. Let us know. Mederi Clinicals now also carries coconut oil for the organic and natural side.
Is that jar that you brought in for me?
Yes.
It's full of coconut oil? Mm-hmm. And it was funny. She hands this to me, and I go, what the heck is this? Do I drink? What do I do with this? She goes, you'll find out during the show. So I'm excited for this part. So now I'm going to know what to do with a mason jar full of white coconut oil.
Well, the craze started with reading a book called Never Be Sick Again by Raymond Francis. This was a gift given to me when I was sick, and the book specifically mentioned a certain coconut oil. So I called the author's company, and he gave me the source of what he felt was the best coconut oil he could find after years of searching. And I asked him, why would he give me that information? Because he's selling this product himself. And he said he didn't care if it was to help change the world.
Nice.
I thought that was fantastic.
Very altruistic.
So the main thrust of his book is about the only two reasons we are ever sick. One is toxicity, and the other is deficiency. It's all that simple. He said all diseases, whatever they are a result of malfunctioning cells. And he also said the only way to cure is to restore our cells and to build healthy tissues. He teaches how to get well and stay healthy. He asked the question, what is health? He said everyone thinks they know what health is, but people asked to define it give you many different answers. The true definition is absence of disease. The problem is there's no way of recognizing or diagnosing disease when your health is in its initial decline.
And that's usually when you don't see the symptoms of it yet. When it starts to go down, you don't see those symptoms. And when you do see the symptoms, then too late.
Well, that is true, but this is where those little warnings, those little nudgings we talked about in the past.
You talked a lot about those last week, yeah.
And that is your body letting you know in the little subtle ways that something is going wrong.
Okay.
If we paid more attention to these times, we might possibly ward off a more serious problem. And I strongly recommend his book.
And what's the name of the book again?
Never Be Sick Again.
And who's the author?
By Raymond Francis.
Okay.
I've read many health books, but this one summed everything up. If you didn't have very much time to research, this really makes a lot of sense, makes it easy to understand.
All right, tell me about the coconut oil, please.
Oh, I'm ready to do that. Yes. He described the health benefits and referred me on to another book called The Coconut Cures by Bruce Fife. I'm telling you all these names just because you might want to go get the book after you hear
the great stories behind it, all the information given in them, and
yes,
look it up for yourself, and maybe if you want to follow it, go for it.
So I will elaborate on the benefits and why Mederi has decided to make this rare coconut oil available through our company now. And the first sentence in the foreword of the book about coconut cures was, if this medium chain triglycerides, which is really fatty acids, of coconut oil, are good for prematures, infants, and children, for convalescents, elderly, athletes, how can coconut oil be bad? All I could find is it would only be bad if it was processed wrong or if they used inferior quality coconut.
Okay.
He also found that while it is a food, it is also an antibiotic, an autoimmune enhancer, and a drug that regulates the body's function and defense mechanisms.
Coconut oil?
Yes.
Really?
It restores the normal balance of tissues, of cells that have become dysfunctional.
I did not know that.
How exciting is this?
It's very.
It's nutritious, and it's safe, and can be taken almost any time. It provides energy and nutrition, not only by itself, but also by promoting the absorption of other foods. It's non-toxic and protects the body from infectious agents such as viruses, bacteria, yeast, fungi, protozoa, worms, and it can kill them. And it causes no side effects. And that isn't all. It makes the body work better, metabolize better, defend better, heal better, and what a gift from nature. If you should get the book called Coconut Cures, then turn to Chapter 7, How to Be Happy, Healthy, and Beautiful, because Bruce Fife explains how to use coconut oil internally as well as externally. If you are in a healing phase of any kind or decide to go the natural route cosmetically, your skin is the largest organ of your body. And you know the old saying, don't put anything on your skin you wouldn't eat, because your body will absorb it. We know that is true. They use even nicotine and morphine patches directly on your skin.
Yeah, it soaks it right into the body.
Yes. In fact, they say that is the quickest way to get it to do its work for absorption.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Now, with summer coming, give coconut a try. One story that was in the book was about a gardener with a sunburn. He didn't apply coconut oil before going out to work, and after a shower, his skin was beet red and painful. He applied the oil and almost immediately found relief. The next week, he applied oil before his work, and he was out in the blazing hot sun at least 6 hours, and this normally would have burned him to a crisp, but he turned into a light tan. Now, many islanders apply coconut oil to their skin every morning, from the minute the infants are born to the end of time. That's all they use, not SPFs. In fact, when they started to use SPFs, of course, I would have to say the junk food probably came in on that too, but they didn't have so many of the diseases we have, and skin cancer was almost unheard of
With the coconut oil.
for them.
Wow.
Yes. You do have to be careful of a lot of SPFs because we are told to put them on our children from infancy, but there's so many poisons and toxic chemicals in them that if they just use coconut oil, they wouldn't have any of that to have to
And what
deal
did you
with.
just say? Our skin absorbs all this stuff into our bodies.
Right. So if it's good enough to eat, you are eating it.
True. True.
Well, back to the islanders. They live where they're under the hot, burning tropical sun every day, and the oil protects them from the burning rays, and they have smooth, beautiful skin. And he does quote, skin cancer is rare. They also apply it to their faces because it cleanses their skin from acne, soothes rashes, and kills skin and nail funguses. They claim even age spots and wrinkles show improvement when they massage daily with the coconut oil. For 3 years plus, I have never used any SPF products, only coconut oil. And in the past, I would burn quite often because I do go to by the pool as much as possible. I intend to keep doing that because whether they say the sun is good for you or not, I love it. It's just, I can't wait. In fact, right now, in this beautiful weather today, watching that sun come off the pool cover, you can see green starting to get some hope. But I have not had one burn since I've started using coconut oil, and I used to. So I know it works. If I ever do forget, I still don't burn because there must be a buildup from continued use. For the times I might be out on a boat or longer in the sun where I can't reapply it, I still do not burn. I use coconut oil every day after a shower from head to toe. Okay, if it's good for the islanders, it's good for me. It is great for keeping your elbows and your feet smooth and even dry, rough, patchy skin. I can only say, don't take my word for the healing powers of it. Try it. If you put too much on, it isn't greasy, it just sinks in. Amazing. Sometimes I even apply a little of the oil to my hair. And you want to keep some in a handy spot to rub on your hands and your fingernails. I mean, you could use coconut oil for everything. And please do not think I'm giving medical advice. I am not.
You are not a doctor. You don't even play one on the radio.
No.
Why don't, at this point, Terry, why don't we take another quick break?
Okay.
When we come back, we'll continue this conversation about making a change, and I want to take a little harder look at that bottle of coconut oil. So, you're listening to Make a Change. It's 94.3 FM The Talker, and we will be right back with your host, Terry Martin. Mederi Clinicals, a unique skincare company, has a complete skincare line for men and women. From anti-aging to glycolic and even a clinical line for sensitive skin, Mederi Clinicals is for you. Their number one product? Forgiveness. It's the secret to younger looking and younger acting skin. You can experience the transformation with fewer wrinkles, firmer skin, and a more youthful, radiant complexion. Treat aging, sun damage, rosacea, and more with Forgiveness. Plus, buy 1 bottle of Forgiveness, get 1 lip enhancing complex for free. Forgiveness. Apply it morning and night and keep forgiving and forgetting all through the day. Make a change with Mederi Clinicals. Balance, restore, look, and feel new. Mederi Clinicals, a complete skincare company for men and women. Call 866-646-3374 or check out MederiClinicals.com. MEDERI Clinicals.com. Welcome back to Make a Change on 94.3 FM The Talker with your host, Terry Martin. I am Tom Jenkins, and Terry brought me a beautiful mason jar full of coconut oil, and now I kind of have an idea what we're doing with it here. When it gets sunny, I'm going to rub it all over my body so I don't get sunburned. You're talking about putting it in your hair. You're talking about the coconut oil being beneficial for sunblock, if you will. Also softening the skin, the dry skin. Can I eat it? When it comes to me and food, you know I want to be able to eat it. And you had said something earlier that if you can't eat it, don't put it on your skin. Well, I'm putting this stuff on my skin, so can I eat this?
Absolutely. Coconut oil can be used in weight management. In fact, coconut oil has gained its reputation as being the world's only natural low-calorie fat, primarily for 3 reasons. The first, because it has fewer calories than any other fat. Secondly, it satisfies hunger better than any other fat. And third, is that it lifts the metabolism to a higher level because since more calories are burned up, fewer are left to be converted into body fat. And the author's description of possible health benefits that he teaches in his book, he lists health conditions he feels that can be helped. And a few he mentioned were heart disease, dissolve kidney stones.
Well, that's near and dear to my heart right there.
Yeah. Balance blood sugar and control diabetes, enhance the immune system to help protect against cancer, boost your energy and increase your metabolism, lose excess body fat, kills disease-causing bacteria, viruses, relieves symptoms associated with irritable bowel syndrome and Crohn's disease, and it helps lower blood pressure. Now, there's some very easy ways you can convert your cooking oils and your baking oils.
I was just going to ask how now. Did you just go open up this jar and just take a spoonful, or?
Well, that wouldn't maybe go down so easy until you learn to love it because you know how good it is for you. But you can put it in hot tea.
Okay.
And you don't even taste it. It looks a little oily around the top, and you might think, yuck, you don't want to taste that. Mm-hmm. But you don't, and you don't even feel that oily in your mouth.
Okay.
You can make it whenever you have recipes for, if it was cake or cookies or brownies or anything at all, and just switch the oil or the butter, whatever it calls for. And that's a good way. However, you do know every time that you heat your oils, then that takes away the goodness, because that's why our oil is so very good, because it's cold compressed and made in the right way to keep the nutrition.
Gotcha.
So when you heat it up, you do lose it. And you will use oils for frying or sauteing or whatever, so you might as well just turn it into coconut oil. And it does taste fantastic. Say you mix, like the peppers or if you're putting it over rice, or you're trying to even make, any kind of vegetables. It just makes them taste better. You just have to try it. And another way, you could mix it in your smoothies, because you would not taste that at all either. And some people just mix it even with peanut butter, and you can put it on crackers. But they do recommend at least 1 to 3 tablespoons a day. But if you get the book, you'll see.
And what's the book again?
It's called Coconut Cures.
Okay.
Now, you do need to make a careful plan of your diet. Stop today and give yourself the time of the day. Be your best friend. Take an inventory of your needs. Make a checklist of any little aggravating nuisances that seem to be bothering you, because they are your friend nudging you to make a change.
Those itty-bitty little things that you were talking about. I can't wait to crack open that bottle and have some fun with it. I love experimenting, especially with food.
And the reason that I am talking about coconut oil in such depth today is because there are people that do want a natural choice. Mm-hmm. They want an organic choice. And this is organic pharmaceutical grade coconut oil, and I don't know anywhere that you can get it if it wasn't through me, because I've always been very particular, and I haven't seen it on any store shelf. There is coconut oil, and it is less expensive, but again, how is it made?
Is it processed wrong? Is it from bad coconut? Yep, I gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've seen coconut oil on shelves before. How do I know if it's good? How do I know if it's bad? I mean, obviously we'll get it from you, but what are the different kind of things you see with coconut oil in different places?
I will talk more than just about coconut oil.
Oh, okay.
When you go to the stores to pick out what is best.
For food-wise, it's as
For
well.
food-wise.
Okay.
You know, when we're talking about if it's organic, too bad that it had to become such a science for us to be able to even eat.
Mm-hmm.
We have trusted FDA to go into the store, and just because we have this feeling that because it's in the store, it's healthy, or it wouldn't be there, because we think that we're protected by all the manufacturers.
Mm-hmm.
And that isn't true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't get me started on that either. But I know where you're coming from on that. So what, when you go to the store personally, what do you do? How do you shop?
I used to be very trusting. If it said natural, if it said even organic, but now they're saying that it has to have an extra sticker on it that says that it's certified organic.
Oh, geez.
Right. And so that must just also bring up the price, because the organic farmers have to go through so much to even be able to say that they're organic. It's so costly that there could be other food, even at farmers market, that they can't legally say is organic, even though they're not spraying it, because they don't have that sticker that they can get, which is thousands of dollars. So they've made it so difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But you do know when you're in, it doesn't matter if it's an organic store. You can't even trust everything in an organic store anymore. That doesn't mean that it is. But you just have to look at the label of every product that you pick up. And it's too bad that we have to do that, but we do. And if you can't recognize what those ingredients are, I mean, really, just if you had the time, go to an encyclopedia or something and try to see what that is. And when you read it, a good share of the time, you'd be amazed at what we're really being fed as fillers. But it's pretty obvious, because look at our society.
Mm-hmm.
We think that you're safe in numbers because so many people eat and do all the same things, but we're finding out, look what's happening to our numbers that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
With even our children.
Wasn't it you? I think you said it last week that unfortunately a lot of us are going to outlive our children.
Right.
Because of how they're being fed and taken care of. I mean, and again, it's not, you can't point fingers. It's just you got to make the choice to make the right decisions for yourself. I don't know how to do that. So what do I do when I walk into the grocery store? I mean, just look at the label if I can pronounce what's on it and understand what's on it. But because I'm that guy that I would love to be able to eat everything 100% organic. You know, I have my garden in the spring and in the summer, and I will walk out, I'll pick it right up. I won't even wash it off. I'll just wipe the dirt and eat it, because I know I did that. You know, but for what, God forbid something happens to my garden and I can't do that. What else can I do instead?
You have to educate yourself.
How?
You have to study a little more at home so that you don't have to stand there and while you're walking down the aisle to see what food is good for you to eat. One thing that when I started my health program so many years ago, and I said that I have 5 children, when they were babies, it was, what do you feed them? You want to give them the very best. But looking back, it was that a lot of it I had to do myself, because there was always that modified starch and all these fillers that are in the food. So these fillers, we see our little babies pretty plump,
mm-hmm.
And it just keeps on going. But I do want to say, this is something that I just heard recently. A 38-year-old could not get a life insurance policy because of high blood pressure. 38 years old, that's pretty young, but
mm-hmm.
that isn't the beginning of where he even heard this before. It was even earlier than that. Now, what is wrong with our younger society that this is happening? It's such a a young age. And then this person that I talk to doesn't even know where to begin either. We study everything. We study what's the right computer to buy. You know, we study everything but what's most important, and that is ourselves. I'd love to be able to tell you all of the answers to all of your questions, but I'm still studying myself.
Gotcha.
But I'm just trying to bring that awareness.
It's just so confusing for me sometimes because, you know, of course, internet, that's where I would go to do all my studying, but I don't know what to believe on the internet. Well, is this really good or isn't this good? You know, you're telling me that this is good, and then this one's telling me this is like, oh my goodness, what do I do?
Oh, you know, that's what I was going to say earlier. When my children were small and I was trying to change, at that point, my husband came home one day, went into the cupboards, and he did throw everything that he couldn't understand. Every spice, everything out of the cupboard, and, you know, really going to go drastic. And then I was standing there like, how do I cook? What do I do? Mm-hmm. But I understand now why he did that and why we really made a big change then. Mm-hmm. Just think about it. You look at the cake mix and the list of the ingredients. It might be 2 or 3 inches, you know, wide, just the ingredients for that. Then you have the canned icing. Look at the ingredients on that. I mean, what are we building? A combustible, you know, is that what we will be? Do we,
actually, I'm laughing, but no, you're right. It is combusting.
How do you know that everything will go together? We don't know that. I see you sitting there like thinking very deep.
I'm just trying to think out how I can make a cake without exploding.
But just look at what it was even when I was growing up. We had stovetop. You know, we had the canned. Let's go into that. No canned food. Canned food is dead. It's been boiled. It's about as dead as you can get. And then now they're even saying about the tin on that, and they're saying about all the coatings on the inside of that. Could you go too drastic, do you think? Well, maybe we could, but maybe drastic would be if you didn't have to worry so much that you're telling me that it's hard to decide. If you just go to the fruits and vegetables and the basic meats that you know do not have all of that, that's pretty easy.
Mm-hmm. That is easy.
We're making it much harder than it has to be.
Oh, I will. I'll complicate a one-car parade. Absolutely. So now I've decided to try to make a change with my food, and I'm reading and I'm trying to understand. How will I know if I make the wrong decision?
I'm sure you've had reactions to foods that didn't agree with you in the past. No?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Like just a little discomfort in the belly. You know, or excessive gas that just like, where did that come from? You know, yeah, no, I've had.
Well, how about our society now, even all the children that have allergies to peanuts? And we didn't have this kind of thing before, but now we find out that the peanuts were grown in the cotton fields, and then they switch you know, crops all the time. Could it be the pesticides and everything that are in there? But we happen to know that children, if they have this peanut allergies, they can die from them.
Right.
Not only is it the allergies that we get from what we digest, I have to tell you, when it came to being in the sun, using an SPF, and I should have said this earlier, I was in a tropical island, actually, and on a boat, and forgot, at that time I wasn't using the oils, but I forgot any kind of lotion, and you know, you really will burn there. So these people had some baby SPF, and I think it was a 50, one that you should be able to trust. Mm-hmm. So they let me use it. By time I got off that boat, I could hardly walk across the beach. My feet were all swollen, all up from that. It was the only thing.
You had a reaction to the
Such
SPF.
A reaction that even for the next 2 days, to even get back when it was time for the flight, I could hardly even walk in my shoes.
Oh, wow.
But we do have reactions, so that's just another way of our body letting us know. If it doesn't like something, it will let us know.
Somehow.
We're just so busy. We're not in tune. Well, it will get your attention.
And that's where you go back to what you were talking about, those little signs, those little reminders, and that's where you need to start to make the change. When that happens, not when it gets too much too late. Okay, I understand. I'm taking you grocery shopping with me next weekend, but I understand.
A food diary doesn't hurt either. Write down how you feel. And sometimes when you just, even if you have a headache, what did you eat that day? So if you like you say, if your stomach was all upset, what was it? Was it combinations?
It's probably junk. That's what I shoveled down my throat. All right, why don't we take one more break here, and we come back for the last segment. I want you to talk more about Mederi Clinicals. Can we do that?
Absolutely.
You listen to Make a Change with host Terry Martin. I am Tom Jenkins, and you're listening right here on 94.3 FM The Talker. We'll be right back. Mederi Clinicals, a unique skincare company, has a complete skincare line for men and women. From anti-aging to glycolic and even a clinical line for sensitive skin, Mederi Clinicals is for you. Their number one product? Forgiveness. It's the secret to younger looking and younger acting skin. You can experience the transformation with fewer wrinkles, firmer skin, and a more youthful, radiant complexion. Treat aging, sun damage, rosacea, and more with Forgiveness. Plus, buy one bottle of Forgiveness, get one lip enhancing complex for free. Forgiveness. Apply it morning and night and keep forgiving and forgetting all through the day. Make a change with Mederi Clinicals. Balance, restore, look, and feel new. Mederi Clinicals, a complete skincare company for men and women. Call 866-646-3374 or check out MederiClinicals.com. MEDERI Clinicals.com. Welcome back to Make a Change on 94.3 FM The Talker. I am Tom Jenkins with the host of Make a Change, Terry Martin. And the first three parts of the show here, we talked about making the little changes on the inside and the outside. Then we focused a lot on the outside. And then you wonderfully segued it into it with a jar of oily stuff that you give me. Find out it's coconut oil. You talked all about the benefits of coconut oil. We just got done talking about foods. And you had mentioned very briefly in the beginning, Mederi Clinicals. Mederi Clinicals. Mederi Clinicals. Well, first of all, what is Mederi? What does that mean? The word Mederi itself, what does that mean?
Mederi means to heal. Now, although it was makeup, that doesn't mean that you'll heal. But if in your mind it helps you, say if you were a burn survivor, if you were in an accident, if you can just look better and look in the mirror and know you don't have to hide in a closet anymore, that you could actually come back out and get back to work and get back in with the living. Because what I found was that maybe someone was in an accident and everything was normal, and then all of a sudden in one day their life changed.
Right.
So Mederi started out being a paramedical makeup company.
I was just going to ask you, how did you begin? How did you start with Mederi Clinicals? A paramedical, say that again?
It was paramedical makeup, but I'll take it back to why I think I have such a fascination for makeup and skincare.
Okay.
And I think it started when I was in school. I was on the school bus, and lunch was, I had a packed lunch, and it was a banana, and I remember Hershey candy bar and all the really good things that anyone would want for your lunchtime. But this girl that I was sitting with had a bag of makeup, and she said if I would trade her my good lunch, she would give me that makeup. But she said not that makeup that day. She would bring me makeup the next day. The next day,
okay.
The next day came, she didn't, and I kept asking. It never did come. But to this day,
you didn't get to eat your lunch either.
No. But I knew then that there was some fascination for that, and it's funny because maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I saw her in a parking lot. I still felt like asking for my makeup, but no, I didn't get that. But what happened was I was, in my late 30s, and I had always worked in between for a multi-level marketing company, and they always chanted the product, and I really couldn't stand chanting someone else's name and acting like it was God or something. It was just. And I always thought how neat it would be to have my own line. So then, because of that company, I started taking makeup classes by famous people. And then I had the opportunity to see how to start my own makeup line. So I learned all about the ingredients, and I learned all about the marketing. And the business started to build. And about 6 years into the paramedical makeup, my business and my home was hit by a tornado.
Oh, no.
So I lost everything, except I had a landline phone, and it still said, hello, Mederi Clinicals, and no one but they didn't know anything had ever happened.
Right.
Yeah, and at that point, I didn't know, really, should I keep on going? What should I do? But I did have the opportunity, because I was a licensed esthetician, to become a medical esthetician in a surgery center. So everything does happen for a reason. So I started working at the surgery center, and I saw how skin healed. And I saw how with glycolic, which I do make, it comes in different percentages, that it will actually, that may not sound so good, but more or less it melts your skin down and it takes a layer off. You should get at least 6 layers off, men and women, and it doesn't hurt. It looks very good. And I always say, if you want to look good, you're going to a wedding or something, get a glycolic peel. Now, many years ago, I had heard, and I saw the show on 2020, and I wish I could get the tape for it, but they said that it doesn't mean you will never get skin cancer, but it is good through microdermabrasion, glycolic peels, or whatever, to get that off.
Okay.
So we do have the products now with Mederi being also a higher grade, pharmaceutical grade skincare, that we do make that, but we make it in a 30%, and then we have a 70%, but you can only do the 70% if it's a doctor's office. And if you should go to a spa or a regular salon, you can get the 30% peel. And now, with that also is, say you have brown spots. Now, sometimes they start lifting with each peel that comes off.
Okay.
And then you start getting rid of all of the little lines, because a lot of that lines on your face, it's just dehydrated skin. So when you get the dead, old, lifeless skin off, then, you know, it's funny because I can go in a mall or an airport and I can tell who's taking care of the skin and who isn't, because when we said in the earlier segment, you can grow old naturally and gracefully, you can have beautiful skin that looks very young. And that helps as you're aging, when you look in the mirror and you see that you do look better, because premature skin, premature aging skin can fool you, even yourself, to think you're older than you are. So that's very interesting.
So, in a nutshell, you know, with the girl on the bus and trading you the makeup, be like, well, there's something to do with this makeup. There's something going on. So we now know how you started Mederi. The big question is, but why did you do it? Why did you take those makeup
Because when
classes?
I was saying that I did not want to always chant someone else's company, that I wanted to make one. And I wanted it to be something that would be more for burn survivors.
Okay.
So your history, your past always brings you to that goal you're not even sure that you want to do. But in my past history, I also had a grocery store, and a little 3-month-old girl was burned severely when she was, you know, an infant. When it got to be that she was 15, she did live. She was actually my little model for the brochures that we had, because I had started something called the Northeast Burns Care Foundation, and that was many years ago, and that was about the time when the tornado hit also. But we used to send children to camps to get help and to get care. So Mederi always gave so much money from our sales, and we'd have jamborees, we'd have all kinds of functions to raise for these children to send them away to camp. Now, at that point, when the tornado hit also, I had to let go of the Burns Care Foundation, because an attorney that did all the work was also killed in a car accident. So we no longer have that. But with the money that we did have from the foundation, we sent it to the Lehigh Valley Burns Unit, the Burns Hospital. That's a beautiful hospital. So Mederi has a heart for either cancer patients. It could be, you know, that they lost part of the face, that they need to be able to put a makeup on, whether it's men or women, because the paramedical makeup that I do still carry, it's not on our line. It's not online right now, but you can get it. We will bring it back in the future. But the hard problem with having it online is you can't get the right color match.
I gotcha.
So it's very hard to order.
So you would suggest that if there is a paramedical case in this that could use your services, you would strongly recommend that you go and meet them one-on-one so you could actually do a consultation. And now, of course, I was looking at your website, and you don't have to be a paramedical case for your product.
No.
For your other Mederi Clinicals products.
No, not at all for that. But when we talk about where Mederi started and why it was and why it worked, this paramedical makeup, I do want to go back to that a little bit, because it will stay on for 24 hours if it is applied right. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't look like makeup. Concrete or, it just, it looks normal. Actually, I have it on now. I use it all the time.
Okay.
The paramedical makeup, because it does last. When I say that it's for men too, actually paramedical makeup was made many years ago with the American Red Cross for our men in the service when they were burned terrible, so that they could come back, and they had to cover it somehow. And one case that I did have was a man that was about 21 years old. He had been in a car accident, and down the side of his face he had a cut. So his sister would always try to put all kinds of different makeup on, and nothing would cover it and make it look normal. Mm-hmm. And when he came to see me, there's a certain way that you need to apply it. We just took a small, like a Q-tip, and we went right down in the slit, right in the cut, and we were able to just cover that. And you couldn't even tell that he had any makeup on at all, because it was only there. It wasn't smothered all over his face.
Right.
So it is for everyone.
And what about the products that people can see online now on your website, which is MederiClinicals.com?
Yes.
Okay. What about those products?
Those products are, in the beginning, we were selling to plastic surgery centers only. Mm-hmm. And then we decided we could bring it out to the market where anyone could get what they needed themselves. And when you go up and down the aisles of all the stores with aisles full of all these different products, you don't know what to get.
Very confusing.
So when we started with Mederi, thinking that we should make it easy, very easy for a person who doesn't have a license to be able to pick what they want, that's why we came out with 3 lines. There's either basically the clinical that's gentle, the glycolic that anyone can use, and then if you really want for aging, you can go into the anti-aging.
There's one thing that you had mentioned when you and I very first met. One of the things you were trying to drill into my head is it's also for men. Men too. Men. Mm-hmm. I've never heard that when it comes to other lines like this. Why are you different with the men? What makes you different?
Because in the past, I think men have always thought it's a feminine thing to do.
I agree. Yeah, it's not make. I'm not wearing makeup.
But we're not talking about looks. Actually, we're talking about the health and how it does need to be taken care of.
Okay, can you elaborate a little on that, or?
Well, yes, I can. You might be in the shower and wash your hair with a strong detergent type soap. It could be for dandruff or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But when you get out, you really need to wash your face, and then you need to use a toner, because your pores are left wide open.
Okay.
So when dirt and everything gets into the pores, then it keeps them open, and maybe at that point you could get acne from doing that.
Okay.
So there's just a basic 3-step. You wash, you tone, and that's not enough to just tone. You do have to moisturize, and a man might think, why? Well, you need to definitely close the pores, and then you're ready to go. And each time, though, that you take a shower, say you come home at night before you go to bed, you really need to do the same thing, the same as a woman does. Skin is skin. And when we made our packaging up, I really never wanted to change it from black and white, plain. It isn't fancy packaging.
Right.
We decided save the money, but we just wanted to...
Generic. Enough forever.
Well,
metrosexual, if you will.
Okay.
For both.
Okay.
Believe it or not, that's just about the end of the show.
Okay.
And I'm thrilled that you got more into that, and I'm sure next week we'll get more into it as well. This is Make a Change, a brand new show here at 94.3 FM The Talker. I am Tom Jenkins with our host, Terry Martin. Of course, if you have any questions for Terry, you could definitely give her a shout, 866-646-3374, 866-646-3374. 3374. Or if you want to learn more about the Mederi Clinicals line, just go to MederiClinicals.com. That's spelled MEDERI, MederiClinicals.com. And I'm looking forward to talking to you again next week.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to see what you bring me again. Hint, 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 hint,
Okay.
hint. And thank you so much for listening to 94.3 FM The Talker. Have a great weekend.